Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one is really important. It's with Phillip Helberg from Helberg Barbecue in Waco, Texas. You may or may not know that they had a major fire which destroyed their restaurant, but they're still in operation. They're doing drive-through, and they have future plans for opening a brick and mortar. I talked to Phillip about everything, about the fire, about how the drive-through is set up, what they're offering, the specials for each day of the week, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They'll be doing this while they're building their dream restaurant. So this is really, really important. It's important that you know that they are still open, that they're doing drive-through. I'll also put links below to their shipping. They'll be shipping their food nationwide. There's also a collab with Sendero. I'll put links to everything you can do to support them below, as well as all the information you need to visit them and make sure that they stay in business until they can open up their restaurant. Phillip and Yvette are just amazing souls. I truly appreciate their friendship. Their food is spectacular, so please do whatever you can to support them. So I truly appreciate Phillip for taking the time to share all this with you. Sit back, relax, enjoy this, and be sure to visit your local barbecue joint as well as Helberg Barbecue in Waco, Texas. Even though you're posting things on Facebook and Instagram and things, people, sometimes they don't get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I've learned that a lot recently. When we started announcing we were going to be back open in the drive-through, we had people close to us telling us, y'all are going to be overwhelmed. It's going to be crazy. And it's been a hard fight just to get people to come out, man. It's been a grind. And it really taught us how little of our customer base follows us on social media. So that's good to know. I mean, well, I think everybody, just about everyone who does, who's a regular around town, who keeps up with our social content, came out within the first like week or two. But we're having to like really pound the pavement around town just to get people to know that we're open.
I could sense that from your posts.
Yeah, and I mean it's a double-edged sword, it's like it's bad in that, we need the business like desperately, in that we need people to know that we're open. But at the same time, it's taught me a valuable lesson that like, there were times before the fire that like I legitimately felt like if I didn't post what the special was for that day, we weren't going to sell it. Like it wasn't going to sell.
Wow.
And there are days that prove one and days that prove the opposite, but
Interesting.
you just never know. And in marketing is one of those things where like it's so sometimes you can prove when your efforts work and there's like verifiable data and
Mm.
everything, and then other times it's just like, well, who knows if that worked or not. There's no way to like really track it. And so one of the things that this season has brought is just it's kind of like how COVID was, where it really like lit a fire, no pun intended, so to speak, under my butt to like try some new things and put ourselves out there and like try different marketing tactics. And like, we really have nothing to lose at this
Hmm.
point. So I'm definitely taking advice from, different people in the space that, in food and beverage marketing specifically, that have offered their, time, talent, and treasure to help us get the word out.
Yeah, it really it is fascinating to step back and look at it. And are you far enough away from the fire that you could talk a little bit about that before we jump into all your stuff?
Yeah.
Like, is it like, yeah, I just don't like it's what was that like? What was that when you found out? And did you ever find out kind of what caused it, or did
It's unclear. I mean, I still need to go back and watch the video footage. I haven't watched it. We have the record. I mean, like our pit room camera looks at kind of where the kitchen trailer was, because for those who don't know, like our kitchen was like a 35-foot food trailer that was kind of like attached to the building, plumbed in, etc. And the pit room camera can like the kitchen trailer is in view. Yeah, I mean, I got a call around 7:45 or so from a friend of ours that lives closer to the restaurant than us, and it was like, "Hey, y'all's place is on fire." Like somebody just called me that lived like, half a mile from there, and they could see the flames and the smoke from their house.
from their
Uh,
house?
well, like because it was at night, so they
Yeah,
could
yeah,
see
true.
like the light of the fire and the smoke. And so, of course, we rushed over there as fast as we could. I was in the middle of making sausage at home, actually, for a friend that his daughter had shot a deer, and they brought it to me, and I was making sausage for him out of it. Me
Ah,
and Wayne. Actually, it's kind of traumatizing. It's kind of sad. I have like a time lapse video set up where we're like making sausage and linking it, and like at the very end of it you can see Yvette come into the frame like panicking, freaking out on the phone, and like that's the end of the video because that's her telling us that the restaurant's on fire.
Oh my Lord.
And then we get over there, and as soon as she said that, I logged into our camera and I could see already flames like coming out of the windows because it's like a food trailer, right? So there's windows on the side, kind of coming out of the windows, and then a little bit through the ceiling. And I didn't really know how big exactly it was, but the whole trailer wasn't completely engulfed. It just seemed like there was a fire inside the trailer. And so I'm like, we got to get over there and put this thing out. I'm thinking we grab some fire extinguishers and knock this thing out. And like, yeah, obviously there's going to be some damages that we're going to have to close for a little bit and address that. By the time we got there, that whole trailer was just
Oh.
up in flame. It was just completely, there's no way.
And did it
And we
catch
were,
the rest of the building on fire?
yeah, so our main concern, a friend of ours, that the one that called us, he had gotten there a little bit before us. And I'm talking like this all happened so fast. He got there maybe 3 or 4 minutes before us. When he got there, he ran over there onto the back of the trailer to try to get the propane bottles off, but they were
Oh.
so hot. He and there's a mixed information on whether or not the propane was on or off, because he said they were on. Of course, when everything's happening so fast, it's like hard to know like
Hmm.
left from right, like whenever you're turning it one way or another, like, do I
True.
remember that correctly? Or
Yeah.
yeah, so anyway, he said they were on, and he was able to get one off, and there were a couple that were like next to the trailer too that we keep as backup, and he pulled those away. Well, it couldn't have been more. I mean, by the time we got there, the whole thing was up, and so within a few minutes, like he cut it very close on getting like very seriously injured on that, because then we got there and there was no way anyone was going in there at that point. And then the fire department got there about 10 minutes after we did, 5, 10 minutes after we
Oh.
did. And by that point in time, the fire had made its way to the back of the trailer where the propane bottles were. And whether they were on or off, the pressure release valves popped, and then it starts spewing out propane. And then once that ignited, it just like a fireball went up into the awning. So like the trailer's parked right here, there's an awning, it connects it to the building. Fire just goes up that awning and straight into the building, and just torched. I mean, half of the roof was gone within about 5 minutes of
Oh.
that fire spreading to the buildings. So like we were thinking like, okay, it's the trailer, they're just going to put the trailer out.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I see a little bit of flame coming up out of the roof of the building, and I'm like, oh crap. Thinking like we're losing the AC units now. And in my head, like we're watching this and we're trying to think as optimistically as possible without knowing what all's going on inside of there. By the time it was all put out and they brought us in there to look at it, it was very clear to us that like this building is toast.
Oh.
I mean, there were like structural beams that were twisted and warped, and I mean, like I said, a good chunk of the roof was just completely gone. So, and then like, yeah, just a lot of stuff burnt
And
up
and it's
in
like
there.
I have that video that you guys did of the tour, and I haven't been able to watch it personally. I wanted to watch it, and then I just couldn't watch it because it was such a beautiful spot, and it was so big, and you had all that memorabilia inside, and you had really cool keepsakes and stuff. Like I hope I don't I, and I had never gotten a chance to visit, but but you also show how you're attached to that. Hey, you've
Hi. I
uh
just want to say hi.
but it is
Yeah,
like it was a good sized building.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
about 4,000 square feet.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, we're able to get so like the positives, the pit room was pretty unharmed. We just had to replace some screen and like trim. And then inside, we didn't lose any like expensive equipment. So like our holding cabinets, those holding cabinets are
yeah.
like over 5 piece. We had like 4 or 5 holding cabinets in there. Those were all fine. Our refrigerators in there were fine. We did lose one walk-in cooler, but that was just because that walk-in cooler, we had built it into the building anyway.
Oh,
It wasn't like a kit that you put together and all that. And the unit on it is fine. We're getting that unit out. So the refrigeration unit on it's still okay. But yeah, I mean, all of our equipment in there is fine. We lost tens of thousands of dollars in leasehold improvements that we put into the building. We added rooms in there, we updated electrical, plumbing, all that kind of stuff over the years, which like we knew that a lot of that was stuff we were going to have to walk away from anyway, but like we were hoping that was going to be in like another year from now when we make a smooth transition from building to building.
Yeah.
And we actually had some plans to keep operating in that building as well, and keep the lease on that place after we move into the new restaurant that we're getting ready to build. So it was, yeah, I mean, I was in there today unscrewing the menu off of the wall so that we can clean it up and make some little adjustments and like put it on 2x4s and, you know, concrete 5-gallon buckets and have it outside for the drive-through, for a little bit sturdier, menu situation out there. And it's hard to be in there. I mean, it reeks of smoke still. And even some of the stuff that we have in there is like, you clean it up and it just still smells.
Yeah, you
And
can't
like,
get that smell out.
it's going to take a lot of laundering of like all of our flags and stuff that we had in there. And yeah, it's the process is far from over. Like there's a lot of work to still be done.
When was the date of that?
That was November 26th. It was the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Wow. Yeah, so that's extremely recent for people.
Yeah.
It seems like it was a lot, like I don't know, for some reason I was thinking like October almost, but that's wow, that's super recent. And so let's talk about the way that I hate the word pivot, but how you pivoted with the drive-through and explain in detail what that is so people know. And then each day of the week you have certain specials too, or certain things you're highlighting.
Yeah, so I mean, just as far as like landing on the drive-through model, immediately we're thinking, well, like our first thought is like, what are we going to do about our staff? We had 28 staff members fire happened, and obviously we had some good fundraising efforts, and that helped, for at least like the first week or two after the fire, for us to be able to tell all of our staff like, hey, y'all are going to get paid at least right now, like give us this week, and we're going to figure out like what the next steps look like. And then it's kind of like, we're just shooting from the hip and talking to, wise counsel around us on like what the best move would be for us, knowing that like, so we had this future building plan. We've been working on it for a couple of years now, since 2021. And we were already well on our way to that before the fire happened. And so the ultimate, the biggest concern was like this, preventing that or hindering that in some way. And so, cause it's not like you can just throw a building up overnight, so
No.
the thing is we haven't broken ground, but somehow we've got to keep operating our business, long enough to make it there. But yeah, we talked to several people and they all agreed that, staying, if there was any way we could stay at the same address, that would be the best call, just because we've been there for 5 years now. So, it's it's easy to find us there, like like I was just saying, it's not like you can just put a Facebook post or Instagram post out there that, oh, we moved to this address now, and everybody's immediately going to know overnight.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't even tell you how many people have come by in the last few weeks since we've been back open that had no idea there was a fire. And they're just like walking up to the front door, not knowing. And I'm like, hey, you here to get some barbecue? And they're like, yeah, what? And I was like, oh, you didn't know? Yeah, we had a fire. So we're doing a drive-through now. And most of the time they've been cool about it and been like, okay, and they get in line and go through the drive-through. But yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example. I mean, I helped out a guy today who, I don't know if he'd even ever eaten at a restaurant before, but he stopped in and he was like on his way to the front door, and I stopped him and talked to him, and he was like, oh yeah, I was just on my way out to a rehab center in Clifton where my brother is, an inpatient or whatever, so he was like just stopping by to get some barbecue.
Yeah.
So like just goes to show, like I think that was the right call to stay at the same address.
Oh yeah.
And we even joked, like one of my best friends was joking, like when we reopened and we were struggling to get people to know that we were open again, he's like, it almost seems like it would have been better had you never even told anyone you were closed,
Yeah.
and just had to like tell people day by day, as they come out to try to eat, like, hey, we're temporarily closed, we had a fire, etc. But anyway,
But it is
and then
fascinating too, because we're so insulated by the fact that we're on Instagram and Facebook and things. We think we hear all the news of everything, but if you're
yeah,
not, you just a lot of people aren't. Yeah.
yeah, I think that was the right call, staying at the same spot. People know where to find us, and then we knew that we were going to have to be in trailers, obviously. I mean, with the way the building was damaged and everything, we weren't going to be able to get, and we know now too, we knew a few weeks after that it was deemed a total loss, and so they are going to completely demo that building and
Oh,
rebuild it. My landlord is. So we're like, not only do we need to be in trailers outside of the building, but we need to somehow route the plumbing and electrical off of the building to where when they start demo, that's not going to, like, you know,
disrupt.
totally hinder our operation.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tricky, and it took us a couple of weeks to get, maybe 3 weeks or so, to get that stuff. And I know that sounds crazy to you, and it sounds crazy to people that I talk to in Waco too, because we're out in the county, we're in the ETJ, so like you don't have to pull permits to do any of that. We could just get right to work. And I mean, I had consulted with the head of the health department, and she's also over the like the septic regulatory body in the county. And so she came out there and looked at everything and gave us like a clear list of everything that we would need to do
Well,
in
that's
order
cool.
to get our health permit reactivated and to get like our septic system okayed. And so we were able to get all that done. We had electricians out there working, 6 days a week for 3 weeks, just getting stuff set up. And so we were already operating a trailer downtown since like the end of June.
Mhm.
And that was a trailer that we were leasing. And the owner of the bar where it was parked, who they own the trailer, said, "Hey, if you need to use this trailer, like go,
Well,
come get
that's
it.
great.
You can use it." So, and then Brett, a good buddy of mine, Brett Boren, reached out and said that he had a trailer that, the trailer that he served in at
Oh,
Brett's backyard.
so nice. What
Uh,
else?
yeah, and that thing is like, I mean, what a great trailer to sling barbecue out. I mean, it's set up perfectly for barbecue. So they definitely knew what they were doing with that one. And I went and picked that up like maybe a week after, I think it was a week after the fire, and then got it back. And then this is crazy too. Like a couple of my friends in town own two Chick-fil-A franchises. And they were like, "Hey, we've got a maintenance guy that's on our payroll. We're gonna send him out to you to like help you fix up this trailer on our dime. Like,
Wow.
don't worry about that. Just let us know, what you need." They came out there and helped us site plan the drive-through, because who better to do that than
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, that like
Um,
almost the best in the world.
they're the best at it. And
Yeah.
so I mean, they were super helpful too, because they helped me figure out a plan for it that I wouldn't have come up with on my own. And then like our, point of sale rep helping us get the right, we had flipping our whole service model on its head.
Yeah,
Usually
everything's changing.
you're ordering from a cutter, and then you get your sides and then you check out at the end and whatnot. Now we're taking orders from a car and sending, like, tickets are getting printed in the kitchen and stuff's getting put together and bagged up and it's all to go. So we had some experience doing that during COVID. We did a drive-through when the shutdown
Yeah, I
happened,
remember that.
but
Yeah.
that didn't really last super long for us. It was only like a few months maybe before we started opening at like 25 and then 50% capacity and whatnot. So, and none of the folks that are with us now were with us then when we did that
Lovely.
drive-through. It was just me, which is fine. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we just figured, we don't have enough space out there in the parking lot to really set up much seating, and it's winter anyway, and it's Texas. Like there's really only maybe 3 good months out of the year. Like if we were in your area, we could
Yeah.
kill it with outdoor seating.
Yeah.
But, there's just not very many good outdoor seating months out here. So we are like, it's just gonna have to be all to go. And the fastest way and what's gonna give us the best shot of selling the most barbecue is gonna just be doing a drive-through and curbside. So that's how we got with that. And
And you whittled down your menu too, right? For this?
a little, yeah. I mean, really, we brought, so at like when we first opened, yeah, we took collard greens off, we took Brussels sprouts off, we took chicken salad sandwiches off. Which it's winter anyway. We weren't going to really be selling those anyway. We switched, kind of like our leftover chicken switches from chicken salad sandwiches to gumbo during this season. So we
Okay.
do chicken sausage gumbo when it's cold. So we took that off. Brussels sprouts, collard greens. We stopped doing burgers every day. Now we just do them on Fridays, which is what we used to do.
Mhm.
But we've already brought the collard greens back. And yeah, I mean, really, and so like we're down to just banana pudding. We're not doing mini pies or any other desserts. But as far as like the proteins go, it's all the same. The only specials we're not doing, like we used to do the bacon wings on Thursday. So it's like, bacon burn ends, but we flash fry them and toss them in a bunch of different sauces, kind of like chicken wings.
Oh,
We stopped doing those we used to do them on Thursdays. We stopped doing those just because like we just thought it would hold up the line quite a bit. Because they can
yeah.
for sure hold up the line. And now that I'm saying that too, like we may be justified honestly in bringing them back, because what a new Sunday thing we started doing, we used to have a rotation of Sunday specials. We'd go either beef cheek barbacoa or brisket meatloaf or smoked sausage corn dogs, which all of those make like reappearances on Saturdays, because now we chose Saturday to be our rotating special day. But we started doing chicken buckets on Sunday. So our
I
chicken
saw
is
that.
like, oh yeah, smoked and then tallow fried, which has always been my favorite menu item, and it's super unique to us. It's real crispy and but still like super juicy. So every time I've served that chicken, like three or more, and it goes out on a tray, I've always thought like this needs to be in a bucket. So we finally got around to buying buckets, and they were back ordered for a while. Just slap our sticker on them, and it's a really killer deal. It's like 5 chicken halves, a quart of mashed potatoes, a quart of collard greens, a pint of gravy for $60. So
Wow.
you can be 5 people easily
Yeah.
for like $12 a person. And those have been going crazy on Sundays. So this past Sunday, I spent like 2.5 hours straight just frying chickens in our one little 2 basket 40-pound fryer. And so we've figured out and managed a way to like crank a ton of those out. And so we could probably
Yeah,
do the
you probably
bacon wing.
could. Yeah.
But yeah, for now at least we're not doing them. But Fridays are burgers. Saturdays we're just kind of, like I said, rotating. Like this Saturday we're actually going to do some pastrami beef back ribs. We did a catering last month where it was a bunch of smoked prime rib. We ordered the bone-in rib roasts. I butchered out butchered it down into like boneless and left the back ribs with a little bit of meat on them, and we threw them
Nice.
in a pastrami brine. So that's what we'll do this Saturday. I don't know what we're gonna do next Saturday. We might do barbacoa, we might do meatloaf, one of those one-off things that we were doing before. But that's kind of we're just playing it by ear right now
But if
on this.
you're not on Facebook or Instagram, you can open up an account if you're listening to this,
Yeah.
just because you guys will announce on social media what those specials are, right? The day.
Yeah, in fact, I was in like I mentioned earlier, I got so tired of just posting the special every day, and because I really want to push other content out there of like cool behind the scenes stuff
Yeah.
and like informational posts and like getting to know our staff more and like our story and our brand, more than just like, hey, this is what we have today, like
Yeah.
really promoting our brand and building that. I actually made a post last week on our Facebook and Instagram that just lays out, here's what our special is every day of the week, and I pinned it to the top of our profiles so it's there.
Yeah, I
So you can
emailed
go
that to
there.
myself today. Yeah, that was, yeah, okay, that's good. I'll put a link to that below, and I'll see if I can tag it somehow in this or something so people can. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of pivoted to like we've always done the $30 racks of ribs on Wednesdays. We've been doing that for like 5 years now. And then the Thursday, since we weren't doing bacon wings, we switched to the $30 racks of ribs that have always done well on weekdays with like our local customer base. Like that's a really good deal on 2.5, 3 pounds of ribs. And so we were like, let's do another like price deal during the like the weekdays when we're not having as many like barbecue tourists and people that are coming through to like try something new or different. So we were doing this like buy one get one 50% off chopped sandwich thing on Thursday nights to push people toward dinner service before the fire. And we were like, let's just do that during the day. And so now we're just slinging tons of chopped sandwiches on Thursdays, which is
Thursdays.
cool. I
Okay.
mean, a little bit of a loss leader, but like they buy sides and drinks and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and it
Yeah.
just otherwise Thursday would be our slowest day of the week probably. So far that's done okay.
So Wednesday is ribs, Thursday is that.
Friday is when we're doing the burgers, the
Okay.
brisket burgers. ground smoked burger patty, bacon, house bacon, smoked cheddar. That's all. We've been doing that since 2020, and it's been a pretty big hit. And sometimes I feel like it's better when we just do it one day a week, but it is a great way to get rid of some brisket trimmings. I do look forward to being able to do those every day again, just because of how much of a great waste reducer they were.
Yeah, well, so but do you only do it one day a week because you want to keep it specific to that day, or is it just you don't have enough waste to?
It's more so just so as not to overwhelm the like one guy we have working in the kitchen now.
Okay, yeah,
Because I mean, he's got a like Wednesday and Thursday right now because we're not really that busy and it's mostly just barbecue stuff. Like the only thing that he has to do for service while he's in the kitchen is like fire beans or fire mac and cheese if they get low. And then like fried chickens, which we're not selling very many chickens on the weekdays. So he's able to basically dedicate his whole day on Wednesday and Thursday to just doing prep to get ready for the weekend and any catering that we have. And it's also nice to not have the flat top griddle on all the time
that
every
makes sense.
day. It was burning a lot of gas. So it's some little things like that we realize I'm like, oh, this is maybe saving us money actually, because
That's
we would
interesting.
sell burgers every day, but like, we'd have Tuesdays or Wednesdays or whatever, we may only sell like 4 or 5 burgers, but we had that flat top running all day, burning propane.
So
So
these epiphanies that are popping up.
yeah, yeah. Some things when you scale back, you realize, oh, maybe I didn't need that.
Well, and then Saturdays the rotating specials, and then Sunday is the chicken buckets, right?
Yeah,
Those chicken
yeah.
buckets too. Like I'll try to put a picture of that because it does looks cool too that you have a chicken bucket.
Yeah, I just think it's a fun idea, man,
Yeah.
and anything we can do to sell more chicken, right? So I'm forever, preaching the gospel of the chicken at our place. People think I'm messing with them whenever I tell them to get the chicken, but yeah, I mean it's one of the best and most unique things you can get at our place. It's super budget friendly. It's like it's cheaper for you. It's more profitable for us. I think it's a win-win.
And it's
And
satisfying
man, if
too.
I could just yeah. Oh man, I was like a half chicken you can get for less than a half pound of brisket. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's double the amount of meat. To
Oh,
most
God.
people, they're like, it's just chicken.
Yeah, and yeah, well, and also too from like people aren't expecting that necessarily. There's certain
Yeah.
barbecue places. There's actually only like I think of it, only a handful that I could even think of that I think like Slow Bone maybe is known for their fried chicken.
Yeah. And then I think Style Switch does like
Oh, you're
similar to us, or they smoke it and flash fry it. I think that's what I've heard. I haven't had it.
That's what I've heard too. I think you're right. So are people driving? So do you open at 11 for the drive-through and then can people walk up or is it drive-through only or and is it online, not online, only order?
It's drive through and curbside only. So if you call us to put in a pre-order, we have a new phone number and it's an actual iPhone. So you can text on it too.
Oh, cool.
And you call us, we'll get your pre-order. And then for curbside, you actually park in the front parking lot where you used to park to just walk in. And you text the number that, your name and that you've arrived, and then we'll bring your food out to you and charge you out in the parking lot. There's no like walk up. People have been doing it anyway, but we're just kind of patiently explaining to people the way to go.
Yeah.
I actually just sledgehammered some like way bigger signs into the front entrance. Where it used to be the entrance, now it's the exit. We got all the signs to put out by the road, and it's funny. It's like a hospitality industry joke. Like it doesn't matter how big the sign it is, they're still not going to read it. And it's so true. Like we had all these signs out there, and people just blow right past them and like enter during in the exit, and we're getting so frustrated because we're like, we see the signs, obviously, we know they're there, and we don't want people to get hurt. Like we don't
Yeah.
want the drive-thrus coming out this way. We don't want people turning in this way. It was so funny. Like one of the first days, or no, it was like maybe the second week of being open. A guy did exactly that. He turned, and I knew the guy. He turned in the wrong way. He parked. He tried to walk up to the trailer, like while we're running drive-through the opposite direction. And I walked with him back to his truck and explained to him how it works. And he was like, "Oh, okay, maybe some signs would be helpful." And I was like, "Yeah, well, we got those signs out there." And he was like, "Oh, well, yeah, I guess I just didn't read it." And I'm like, "Yeah."
That's
so,
hilarious. That's so funny.
So I put like way bigger exit signs by the exit, so it's
Yeah.
hard to miss. And then the other ones we're gonna like elevate more probably. But yeah, it's been, and we're probably gonna be doing that for the entire time that we're there. I mean, perfect example, like we weren't open on Tuesdays for 4 years. But did that stop people from pulling in the parking lot and trying to walk in on
Sure.
Tuesdays during lunch? Absolutely not. So if we're over here in this drive-through for, I don't know, 9 months to a year, I bet every day we're gonna have somebody that we have to like redirect, and tell them like, hey, this is how
Yeah.
you know you go through. We've had some guys that are like in semi trucks or like dump trucks that I've walked up and I explained it to them. They're like, "Oh, but I'm in a semi." I'm like, "Yeah, you can drive your semi truck back there. Like that's where we receive our orders for
Oh,
our
that's
meat
true.
trucks. So you pull around, dude. We got you."
How
So we're
cool
like,
is that? That's really cool.
yeah, proudly the only drive-through that you can fit your, semi truck through.
You got to send me a photo if someone does that. I want to see. That's really cool. I'd like to share that. That's so then I think you also don't you have a map? You kind of did like a little map somewhere. I'll
Yeah,
search it online. It's on your social media, right? Like kind of
yeah, and
explains the
it's on
drive
our
through.
website now too. Our catering manager drew that out
Okay.
for us just to kind of help. We're just realizing like how redundant we have to be, which is a good lesson for us to learn. To for us to like really get information out there. It's hard to process and understand at first, like how much you have to repeat yourself on these things, but like it is what it is. It just that's what you got to do for people for everybody to really understand and
Yeah.
know what it is. You got to stay on it. I mean, some of our specials when we started doing new things, it would take months for people to learn that that's the day for that particular item. And so it
Yeah.
is what it is. That's why some of our specials that have done really well, like the $30 axe ribs, we've just never changed it because you know last week, perfect example, we have like a text rewards sort of thing. When you come through and you pay, there's an option to sign up for our rewards program. You start earning points. It's like one of those things. But
Yeah.
like I'll send out text announcements maybe once or twice a week with like just information, or like if we're running a special deal. But like last week I sent out to our 2,900 people on our text program, hey, $30 racks of ribs today. We sold out of ribs so fast last Wednesday because it was like no one knew that we did $30 racks of ribs
That's
on Wednesday.
hilarious.
We've been doing them for 5 years, and these people are like on our rewards programs too. They're like like loyal customers. So I mean, for anybody, any industry guys listening, just you got to keep
Yeah.
pounding the pavement on that information, getting it out there, and maybe don't switch up your stuff too often because there's going to be people that want to come out and try a certain thing, and you know, consistency is key.
You could write a book now about this. This is something like a manual. It's really interesting the things that you've learned. You've learned a lot about it. This is so
Crash
the
course
a
for
crash
sure.
course. So are you open from 11 till when?
Right now, just three.
11 to 3. Okay.
And that could change in the future. Right now, like we just don't. Originally, we were gonna try to be open later on Saturday, but it gets dark so early right now, and there's no lighting out there in the parking lot. Like we had exterior lights on the building that would like flood, the parking lot and whatnot. We don't have that now. So for now, it's just 11 to 3. If we And we have had a lot of days where there's people coming right at 3 or a little bit after 3. I'm just not sure that it's enough to justify extending it to 4
Mhm.
just yet. So like right now, it is just crucial that we run lean and mean and only operate during the hours that we know we can be profitable.
No,
So
no, that's
yeah,
the only way you could do that. That's right now
yeah. I
you can't
mean,
play games.
no, we went from 28 staff to 10, but our payroll only cut in half because the
Whoa.
10 that we kept are our managers, our longest tenured people. They're folks that have been with us for a while, and they just make more money,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
frankly. So it's kind of like a weird balance. And so yeah, we can't afford any fluff right now.
No, no, no. And you have 8 picnic tables that so people can pick up and sit outside if they
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah, there's a handful out there. I think 8, yeah, depending
I
on.
thought I read that. I don't know where I read that.
Yeah, I did post that actually.
Okay,
There are
that maybe
8.
that's what. Okay.
Well, a couple of them get pretty close to like the pit room area though, so which is fine if you're okay with listening to whatever they're listening to in the pit room, music
Yeah.
wise.
I think on that. I
But
think on that tour you said there was picked. I think you could see tables by the pit room. So
yeah,
I think that was so. So all the pits are all the same. You guys have all those. You didn't get.
yep,
Okay, those are that whole pit area turned out to be okay. Now, are there other
yes.
ways? Are there other ways? Because I think you sell smoked tallow, right? Are there other ways people can help you and support you?
Yeah, we've got, I mean, so the Sendero merch collab, which actually this is one of the hats.
Yeah, it's a red hat.
Um, yeah, these guys are, and it's really cool. There's like stuff on the
Oh,
sides
that's cool.
too. Um, these guys are right down the road from us. They're good friends of ours. I sit behind the co-founder of Sendero, or owner of it, like in church every
Oh,
Sunday.
cool.
They're great folks. They make amazing hats and shirts and
Hmm.
jeans now. Like they started as like a hat company. Now they're like a full-blown apparel company. They're, all over the nation selling
I have some
stuff.
other stuff.
We've been working on this collab with them since last year, and then it just so happened to be pretty much ready right at about the time like we had already put our order in. We were waiting for it to ship when the fire happened, and so they reached out to us and were like, "Hey, we've got this idea. We're going to do like this pre-order sale. Like we can order a whole lot more and just put it out for pre-orders, and people buy online, and all the proceeds go to you guys. And then whenever the stuff comes in, we'll ship it out." And then they got a donation match partner for that. And so they raised, a good bit of money for us. And the online store is still open.
Oh,
The
cool. Okay.
Sendero collab is still open, and so like any of that stuff that you buy, the proceeds go straight to us. Um, and then yeah, we actually, another just really a big blessing I think that came from this is it really catapulted us into our. We had like these shelves behind me. These empty shelves used to be full of cases of our all-purpose barbecue rub, and we sold, most of it during the time that we were closed to stores around town. In fact, one of them just reached out to us today and wants to restock,
Wow.
and then we're selling them on our website now. So we actually opened another website that's called Helberg Barbecue Wholesale, and that's for like shipping. We're shipping nationwide now. Like whole briskets and racks ribs and stuff like it. Basically the same kind of stuff you get on Goldbelly, but it's
Mhm.
just through our own shipping
Okay.
platform. So there's no like extra fees. They're not taking a cut. It
Cool.
goes directly to us. And then we're also selling like spice rubs and tallow on there. We're still kind of figuring out the shipping on tallow, but that was another thing that, like, not being open 7 days a week anymore, we're not changing out our fryer oil 3-4 times a week. So it used to be, you know, we never had excess tallow on hand because we were constantly having to clean out and refill that fryer. Well, being open and having it on from 11 to 8 every day, basically.
Yeah.
So being 11 to 3, 5 days a week, we're not having to change our fryer oil out as much. So we have a lot of tallow on hand, and we're getting to sell it now, which is cool because a lot of people are starting to wake up to just
Hmm.
how great that stuff is. And
Yes,
we're
definitely.
happy to be able to provide it.
Oh, cool. So is that on the website yet, or it will be soon?
I think Yvette got it up just before I hopped on this call with you.
Oh, cool.
So
All
yeah,
right,
it's
so it's
on
live.
Helberg. Yeah, it's HelbergBBQWholesale.com. That's
Okay,
our,
cool.
like, kind of our e-commerce site
Oh,
I think we have it linked on our normal page too, that you can go to that one. And so you can go to that site for shipping anywhere in the continental US, or local pickup for any locals that want to just like go on there and buy something to come pick up curbside. They can do that too.
oh, perfect. Okay, cool. I'll share the heck out of that stuff. That's good to know. That's awesome. I know that when you had done that tour, you had shown a place that you were going to be making sausages and stuff. Is that what is that? And is that going to be your new spot or what?
No, that's actually we actually sold that place.
Oh, you did.
So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, we had that place for a while, and it was like we thought we wanted to be in the event business, and it was a mess. So we got out of there.
Okay. Okay.
Thankfully, we got our sausage equipment out of there. The guy that bought it's a local guy. And he actually had a little like strip center kind of right next door to that building. And I was like, man, I'd love to sell it to you, but this is where we're making all our sausage. I don't have anywhere else to do it. And so he just put us in one of his suites,
Oh, cool.
and so we've been in there, and it's perfect for us. And then they bought the building from us. So
Got it.
anyway, that's a long way of saying no, that's not where we're going. We had bought 5 acres right down the street from our current spot back in 2021.
Okay.
And we're getting ready to build on it. We had
Okay.
actually started on this design like summer of 2021, and then it was Good Friday of 2022. My landlord approached us about like if we were still interested in buying that building that we're in, and we were like, yeah, because it'd be way cheaper than building from the ground up.
Mhm.
So then that was kind of like a 6-month process for us to then find out that it wasn't going to work out because of
Uh,
just space issues with like having enough room for the right septic system and then parking and just all the boring stuff,
yeah. Yeah. The
it's
reality of the situation, though. Yeah.
yeah, there's so much. It's not cool talking about cool, barbecue stuff, but it's the reality of the business.
Yeah.
And so that put things on a hold, which really kind of stunk because interest rates went up a couple of points during that time
Yeah.
period. By the time we got back to like, all right, we're going to build for sure, prices went up, interest went up, and then we really hit the ground running on the design process, and then like working with an architecture firm and like, you got civil, structural, MEP, like all these different engineers,
Yeah.
septic, and it took all of last year basically. Like we didn't get our completed bid set until October, to where we could hand that to our contractor for him to like bid it out to everybody. And then we finally got our like completed bid in front of us on the 10th of this month, January 10th.
Okay.
So we just now found out like how much it's actually going to cost. Ideas, numbers kind of floating
Yeah.
around, but so, and we've been working with a local bank, and a great bankers over there, guy that has been super helpful with us and checking in constantly. And so like has very good knowledge of our whole situation, and they were basically like, hey, they had everything they needed from us already except for just like the completed bid.
Yeah.
And we were telling them like what we thought it was going to be around that range, and it kind of came, it always comes in a little higher than you
Yeah.
hope,
Always. Yeah.
but they were pretty much ready to go. So like we got the bid, last week or 2 weeks ago, and we're probably about 2 weeks out from closing on the loan to get the construction finance, just because like they've had so much information from us already from the last like year or two that just putting all the last final boring stuff together. We got to get insurance quotes, we got to clear title, we got to do all that stuff to get the construction loan going. But yeah, we should be breaking ground next month in
Wow.
February. That's yeah.
Nice. And then you're
And
saying
our
about
GC
9 months or
said,
something.
yeah, he said like 8 to 9 months, which is, again, that's a pretty quick turnaround time. But like being out in the county, there's like no building permits. All we have to do is get our septic permit and our actual health permit to operate a restaurant.
Wow.
And aside from that, it's just go, man. It's the only thing to be waiting on is like, if materials or contractors or anything like that. But we'll start moving dirt hopefully next month, and then
Are you
it's
are
going to be
you
a cool
are you
spot.
excited about the design?
Oh yeah, super stoked. I mean, like I said, we spent 2+ years working on this design, like just perfecting it. I mean, even like last year when we took our little family vacation after Christmas, we had those plans with us, and like when we weren't at the beach, we were like had it laid out on the ground in the little B&B that we are staying at. We're like tape measure with a little scale tool and like walking it out, like how much, have you seen The Bear? Have you watched
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
show?
Hmm.
Yeah, so like season 2, when he's like walking out his kitchen of like
Uh-huh.
how many steps it's gonna be, like we did all that stuff, you
Oh,
know.
cool.
And so like we know very intimately how, like, exactly what spaces are gonna be what size, and you know where every little thing is gonna be. And it's been very fine tuned. And for anybody who ever wants to like build or design a restaurant of their own, just know it's going to take some time, and it's worth taking time on
Hmm.
too, to have it made exactly for your operation. Because we operated out of a building that was not meant to be a barbecue joint for 5 years. And we were just, it was endless headaches, man.
Hmm.
Like it was just constantly there was stuff wrong, because it was not designed to do what we were doing in there.
Yeah.
And we were just winging it, and a lot of DIY and fixing things on the fly. And it was expensive and frustrating, and caused delays when we were like already operating. So the fact that this is going to be tailor made to exactly how we operate and how we want to run service and everything, it's we are just thrilled about it. And I can't wait just to start seeing dirt getting moved over there, for my own self, because after
Yeah.
working on this so long, there's a lot of times it feels like it's never going to happen, and then it's just this like dream. But for our staff too, for them to see it actually
That's
coming to
important.
life.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to see it, like, hey guys, this is really happening, you know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we've all looked at these plans together and talked about, like, you know, what all we're gonna have, what all is gonna be different, how much nicer these certain things are gonna be, like floor drains. Oh my gosh, you know, just
Well,
little things like
well,
that.
and also too that you'll be able to give updates and on
Yeah,
social media, like that'll be something that people will be interested in, and people will drive by and wonder what's happening and what's going on. And so there's like you could kind of market your where you what you're doing right now through that progress.
totally,
And but it's also too with what happened, it'd be nice to see, something happening in a positive direction with that. That'll be
for
after all
sure.
that's happened. Yeah. Ah,
Yeah,
man. Well, we've covered so much, and the reason why I wanted to talk to you was because I felt like there were people that maybe weren't paying attention, and there's also like there's been a lot of stuff, like, a lot of tragedy, a lot of things happening in the barbecue
yeah,
world, a lot of things happening, and there's fires that happen every so often, maybe once a year or something, and people get really focused on things, and then they move on to the next thing, and they move on, or their life wise they move on.
yeah.
And I
I
wanted
mean,
to keep this
yeah, it's
on
just the
people's
news
minds.
cycle. That's the way it goes.
Yeah,
That's the way of.
but I want people
And
to know
yeah,
what you guys were up to and it happening.
I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I actually, the week, so we had our fire maybe 4 days or so after Horn Barbecue in
Oh
Oakland.
yeah.
And I remember waking up the day before Thanksgiving, which is like the Super Bowl for us at the
Yeah.
restaurant, like Thanksgiving turkey pickups, and it's always a crazy, crazy day in the restaurant. And I remember getting up, and before I even got out of bed, looking at my Instagram, and hey buddy,
Hey.
and seeing that news from Horn, and just commenting on that post. Like, I don't even know that guy. I've never talked to him or anything, but just commenting on that post, like, man, how devastating. Like, I can't imagine what you're going through.
Oh,
And like 3 days
3 days
later, it
later.
happened to us.
Oh,
So yeah, I mean, but yeah, you're right. It's a lot has happened in the last couple months. So like, I can't thank you enough, because yeah, I mean, everybody wants to, and there's nothing wrong with this by any means. I'm not saying this, but like everybody wants to help out and be supportive and everything, like right when it happens, the
yeah.
first couple of weeks, and that's great. But like a couple of months down the road and longer is when it's almost like we need it even more,
That's when you need it
because
more. Yeah.
we're still we're still struggling
Yeah.
hard. Like we're still without a restaurant, and like trying to run. What are you doing, man? Hey,
He's
come on.
actually it's actually very reminiscent of our first interview.
I know. I was thinking about that earlier. He's
That
a
is
lot bigger now. He's
he
5.
is, yeah. That was 5. Wow, that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, crazy, right? But
But
yeah,
but now is the
it's
time. But that's when I because I was just thinking like the last couple of weeks, and I've been dealing stuff with my mom and different, and I've been thinking about a lot of things in life, and I thought, you know, this is when people like I want people to like it's just it's just a nice reminder, And because these are permanent on YouTube and podcasts, it pops up in people's feeds and things. And I just want to, and I also want to be able to share now. You've discussed things that I kind of didn't even know about. So then now I can kind of, promote on my own way. Not that like I have a different kind of demographic than all these other guys in the barbecue world, because we all do.
We're still very much like in the trenches, in the weeds. And I know a lot of people have been very supportive, and there have been a lot of wins to celebrate too along the way. Just like the fact that we were able to get back open,
Yeah.
and the being able to keep as much staff as we were able to. And as you know, like, we're people of faith. We believe God has his hand in all of this, and
Yeah.
he's watching out for us, taking care of us, and that he has a plan through all of this. And even if it's just, we wouldn't be having this conversation if it weren't for the fire that happened,
Yeah.
and I get to, come on and just like proclaim like our faith, and that we're holding to that, and that's what's getting us through.
Yeah.
And that maybe there's somebody out there going through something difficult, that they can maybe hold fast to that or be interested in
Mhm.
that. So, yeah, man, it's I really thank you a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank both you guys, and I appreciate you guys as friends, and you guys have always been, you know, I've always felt like the kindred spirits, even though we haven't physically met. But I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, you have a good evening.
Thank you so much. You too.